see here, this is the first section that we completed since the last layout update. Here you can see we have a number of sidings. I think this is going to end up being a maintenance depot or TMD. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines coming in here. One of them goes into these set of atlas points. That's been isolated right there. And then this set's just going to a regular set of express points. And since these are electrofrog, or sorry, they're insul frog, so they're isolating the Flying Scotsman there. And then we have this insul frog 3-wave point from Pico. Works out pretty nicely. That completes the rest of the sidings right there. And so we did this about a week ago, or so ago. And it's goes in then to the main line and into the tunnel that you guys are probably familiar with. So hopefully we'll get some time in the coming weeks to add some scenery and complete this section here. But as far as the track's concerned, it's in pretty good shape. If I swing around, this is the third rail line. It actually ends there right now, but it will actually continue on to the other half of the basement when I get time to expand it. So basically nailed that track down. You can see some EMUs around that, and it goes all the way across. So I'll wander over there and show you the rest of it. And so you can see that inside track just against the wall is what we nailed down, added some power to. I still have some of it to finish off, but there's a couple of small sections of track that need to be cut and nailed down, and that runs into the station area at the end. So I'll show you that next. So this is the station area. As you can see, I haven't quite finished this yet. Like I said, the inside line there is the third rail line. It needs some track cut and so on. And you can see I started to work here on the platforms. So we got 3 of these that are nailed down, and then I got to cut and nail that right there. And you can see here I had to actually cut this piece of wood because it was a little too long coming up to the doorway here. So I'm going to use this excess piece that I had left over to essentially have the platform end here. And I'm not going to use these Hornby plastic platforms, so I'll probably use some plaster or some polyfiller or something like that to create the platforms. Since they're probably need to all be custom length, and some track I need to cut there and complete the last platform. But you can see it's turned out pretty nicely. Should give us a pretty decent place to station some of these locomotives. Okay, and there's one final piece of the update, and we'll show you that next. This is part of the layout that you're probably all familiar with. I've actually added this small piece of wood onto the end of the shelf. This is just I think it's like $1.25 or something like that at Lowe's. Just a pine wood plank. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll have seen that I've used them as a safety barrier for the old layout as well as part of this new layout. So you can see there I put one just here just so the rail wasn't quite up to the edge. So you can see there the tracks was pretty close to the end, and that probably wouldn't be good. If anything derailed, it could easily fall off. As you can see, it's pretty high up off the ground. So what I did was just added this, and it's pretty straightforward. Screwed it in 1, 2 locations, and then it's actually got a second piece that's connected underneath, so they just overlap, and then they're glued. And then I'll remove the screws, or might leave 1 or 2 of the screws in there. And so this will give me some space, I might put in a fence or something here, and then finish ballasting this section right here. And of course, the last thing that I did is you're probably familiar with the walls here, and this was sort of loosely styled off of Edge Hill in Liverpool. In fact, the station that I'm putting in on the other side of this this tunnel will look quite familiar for those of you who are familiar with Edge Hill. However, this section, I needed some kind of transition, so this Edge Hill style section here is not quite the same. I know that the bricks and stuff are a slightly different color, but it's pretty close to the style of going into the station there. So what I decided to do was, this section here is pretty long, and I saw a couple of videos for Sydney Gardens, and I thought Sydney Gardens would actually be a pretty slick location, at least take as inspiration for this section of the layout. So what I've done for the transition is I've actually put in this wall here. It's actually going to be the edge of a bridge, so I'm going to basically duplicate this right here and here on the end, and then we'll put in some small tunnel archways between those two, just like that you see at Sydney Gardens. And then you can see I've put the wall in here, and this wall is actually taken from some photos that it was kindly donated to me from Sydney Gardens. So a couple of folks who were doing some railway photography out that way had snapped some pictures and were kind enough to send them my way. So I'd like to thank them. And we used the GIMP, it's a photo perspective solution, to basically transform the image to give me this head-on view of the wall, because unfortunately some of the views were slightly obscured, and it turned out pretty well. So if you look real closely, you can see transitions in places. So what I did here was I used some scenic glue, and I put some scenic glue on that with a Q-tip, and then just kind of rubbed the fine turf scenery from Woodland Scenics into it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the transitions here, right there, and then probably at the end there, and that should hopefully hide lines. Here, for what I did with the lines was actually use these pipes that I created from some barbecue sticks, but we're not going to do that here. Here we're just going to use the scenic glue and the turf. And then what I'm going to do is, I've actually got this file up in PDF format, so I'll upload those to the oorail server in the next week or so. If someone wants them before that, just comment on this video or shoot me an email, or message me on Twitter, and I'll hook you up. But basically the plan is to add a couple more of the bridge things. I think this is a 3-page PDF, so that's 1, 2, and then 3. So we're going to probably put a bridge in and 3 more, bridge in and 3 more. So by the time we're done, this should look pretty slick. And of course I'll do a video showing you how exactly it was created. And but that's about it for now. So hope you enjoyed this update video. And I'd like to apologize that this video is a bit late in coming out. I was supposed to post this last week, but I lost my voice a little bit, and I was a little busy, so I had to take a bit of a break from this to get some other stuff done. But also ran into some technical difficulties with 2 of the videos that I had planned. So one of them was for Neo Magnet on the APT. Unfortunately, the Neo Magnet was a little too strong for the APT, and it resulted in the motor just not turning at all. So I have some new armatures on order, and hopefully we'll get that video out to you in the next couple of weeks. Well, until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.